Imagine opening your door to cops hauling you off for crimes you didn't commit. All because your nosy neighbor craves control like oxygen. But what if that criminal was a sharp-eyed ex-judge who'd been quietly plotting her downfall all along? Alex Harper had always prided himself on flying under the radar. At 65. After 3 decades as a federal judge in bustling courthouses from D.C. to L.A., he'd cashed in his chips for a quiet corner in Sunnyvale Meadows, a gated suburb in suburban California where the lawns were greener than envy and the rules thicker than a phone book. The houses stood in perfect rows, each with matching mailboxes and fences no taller than 4 feet. 6 inches, because God forbid your privacy hedge blocks someone's view of your recycling bin. It was the kind of place where community spirit meant mandatory holiday lights and fines for weeds taller than a golf tee. Alex thought it'd be paradise after losing his wife to cancer 2 years back. No more high-stakes trials. Just mornings with black coffee, afternoons tending tomatoes in his backyard, and evenings with a good thriller. But peace? In Sunnyvale Meadows. That was a privilege doled out by one woman, Evelyn Evie Marsden, HOA president for 8 unchallenged years. Evie was the picture of suburban royalty, pearls around her neck, a smile like polished chrome, and a clipboard always at the ready. She preached order and harmony at every block party. But her version of harmony meant micromanaging everyone's life like it was her personal dollhouse. We're all in this together, she'd coo, while slapping fines on folks for parking their own cars in their driveways too crooked. Alex had heard the whispers from day one, how Evie twisted bylaws to favor her cronies. How challenging her meant endless inspections until you sold up and fled. But he figured, live and let live. Until Evie decided he was the fly in her ointment. It started small. The way these things do in places where boredom breeds tyrants. Alex's garage door? Unapproved taupe, the first violation notice read. Stamped with Evie's looping signature. He'd painted it himself, matching the swatch from the HOA's own color chart. But apparently, it was one Pantone shade off. He chuckled at first, ridiculous. Sure. But harmless. He emailed a polite correction with photos attached. 2 weeks later, a $50 fine landed in his mailbox. No response. Just a form letter about maintaining aesthetic uniformity. Alex arched an eyebrow, filed it away, and went back to his garden. But Evie wasn't done. Next came the trash bin gripe, visible from street for 2 minutes past 7 p.m. Fine, $75. Then his tomato stakes, exceeding height limit by 1.5 inches, potential visual obstruction. Another $100. Alex started a folder, labeling it Evie's edicts, snapping pics of each absurdity. He attended one HOA meeting, slipping into the back of the stuffy clubhouse where folding chairs squeaked under fidgety neighbors. Evie held court up front, flanked by her board, her brother-in-law as VP, her yoga buddy as secretary, and 2 yes-men who'd gotten favors like waived fines. Let's keep Sunnyvale shining, she beamed, passing motions faster than a used car salesman closes deals. When a timid dad asked about fixing the pothole-ridden playground, Evie tilted her head sympathetically. Oh, Harold. We're prioritizing essentials, like ensuring no one's holiday wreaths clash. The room tittered nervously, no one pushed back. Alex stayed silent, observing how Evie's eyes scanned for dissent like a hawk spotting mice. She locked on him briefly, her smile tightening. He nodded politely and left. But that night, another notice arrived, unauthorized garden implements. He smirked inwardly. Game on, Evie. But he'd play it slow. Like aging wine, patient, potent. The violations piled up like bad karma, each more laughable than the last. Alex's mailbox flag was non-regulation red. His welcome mat? Excessive pattern density. He paid the fines at first. Not wanting waves. But documented everything, dates. Photos. Even measuring his hedges with a ruler in broad daylight while neighbors peeked through curtains. Whispers spread, Evie badmouthing him at her wine nights. Calling him that reclusive widower stirring trouble. One evening. Over fences. A neighbor muttered. She's got the cops on speed dial. You know. Called M on the Jenkins for suspicious loitering, turns out they were walking their dog. Alex nodded. Filing it mentally. Inside. He seated with that quiet fury judge's hone, watching fools dig their graves. But Evie? She amped it up. Her concern turning toxic. At a neighborhood barbecue she hosted, mandatory attendance implied. She cornered him by the grill. Alex. Darling, she purred. Voice dripping honeyed venom. Your yard's becoming quite the eyesore. We wouldn't want liens on your property. Would we? It's for the greater good. He sipped his lemonade. Calm as a pond. Greater good? Like how you vetoed solar panels last year because they clashed with the aesthetic, while your roof got a free pass. Her eyes narrowed. But she laughed it off. Oh. Rules are rules. Some of us understand commitment to community. Alex smiled thinly. Commitment? Or control? She walked away. But the seed was planted. Soon. Rumors flew. Alex was aggressive, unstable, harassing board members. He overheard it at the grocery store, Evie's web spinning lies to isolate him. He stayed silent. But started digging deeper. Public records showed Evie's hubby owned the landscaping firm that maintained the common areas, for triple market rate. With no bids. And those fee hikes? No audits in years. Alex's judge instincts kicked in. This wasn't petty, it was pattern abuse. Tension simmered like a pot about to boil over. Evie's grip tightening as Alex refused to buckle. More notices, his bird feeder was attracting vermin, one squirrel. Fine, $200. He appealed via certified mail. Citing bylaws, ignored. Then came the anonymous tip, a scrawled note in his mailbox. Watch the reserves. She's siphoning 4 upgrades that never happen. Been here 10 years, don't end up like the Millers. Attached, blurry copies of minutes showing $150,000 transferred for pool repairs. The pool looked the same as ever. Alex cross-checked satellite pics online, no changes. He grinned darkly, embezzlement. Classic small-time crook move. But he played possum. Waving cheerily when Evie drove by in her pristine SUV. Clipboard on the dash. Inside. He prepped, requested HOA records under state law. Demanding budgets. Contracts. Minutes. 10 days deadline. Evie's response? A curt email, processing. Patience is a virtue. Meanwhile. She escalated the smear. At the next meeting, Alex skipped. But a sympathetic neighbor recorded. She sighed dramatically. Poor Alex seems so isolated. I've heard concerning things about his temper. We must protect our families. Laughter rippled, nervous. Forced. But cracks showed, a few residents murmured. What's he done? Exactly? Evie shut it down, trust me. Dears, I'm here for you. Alex. Reviewing the audio. Chuckled bitterly. Trust? Like trusting a fox in the henhouse. He filed a records request with the county. Uncovering Evie's board stacked with conflicts, her sister-in-law on payroll. And those cops? HOA watch events sponsored by her. Officers munching her cookies. He sensed the storm brewing. Evie. fearing exposure, would strike first. And she did. With the dumbest move in her playbook. Sunday dawn cracked like a bad joke, 6:45 a.m. Alex mid-coffee. When the doorbell blasted, he shuffled over, expecting a wayward Amazon drone. Instead, 2 uniforms. Badges gleaming under porch light. Body cams winking red. Behind them, Evie. Arms akimbo. Face a mask of righteous fury mixed with glee. Officers. That's him, the threatener, she crowed. The lead cop, Ramirez, cleared his throat. Mr. Harper? Complaint of harassment and threats at last week's HOA meet. Said you'd end her reign with violence. Alex blinked. Then let a slow smile creep. He'd been in Seattle that week, visiting grandkids. Ticket stubs in his wallet. But the younger cop, Jenkins, froze. Face paling like he'd seen a ghost. Judge Harper? Federal bench? Yeah, Jenkins had testified in Alex's court years back. A corruption case where Alex nailed dirty badges. Recognition hit like karma's hammer. Evie. Oblivious. Pushed, he screamed obscenities. Officers. Arrest him, I'm terrified. Alex pulled his phone, showing the Alaska Airlines boarding pass. Seattle. Folks. Flight 319. Want the hotel receipt? Silence dropped like a bomb. Evie's smug melted to confusion. Then panic. But witnesses saw you. Alex leaned in. Voice velvet smooth. Which witnesses? Evie? Name 'em. She stammered. Red-faced. Jenkins adjusted his cam, whispering to Ramirez. This is bad. They apologized. Tipped hats. And peeled out, leaving Evie sputtering on the walk. This isn't over, she hissed. Alex shut the door. Poured fresh Joe. And pulled his folder. Oh. It's just beginning, he murmured. The cop's footage? Public records request incoming. Evie's false report? Misdemeanor at best. Felony if weapon involved, she'd embellished with implied gun. And those finances? He dialed an old law buddy, time to audit the queen. Evie's empire? Cracking at the seams. The fallout hit like a suburban avalanche. Evie scrambling as Alex's net tightened. Records arrived, late. Redacted poorly. But enough, invoices to phantom vendors. All linked to Evie's hubby's firm. $150,000 vanished into consulting. Alex's buddy ran forensics, wire fraud across states. He leaked anonymized tips to a local reporter, who sniffed embezzlement. Article dropped, HOA Prez's reign of terror, fines. Lies. And missing funds? Evie fired back in the neighborhood newsletter, baseless smears from a bitter loner. But residents stirred, petitions for audits circulated. Signatures piling. Evie called an emergency meeting, packing it with loyalists. She stood at the podium, pearls clutching, voice quivering with faux outrage. Friends. This attack on our harmony, it's un-American. That man. Alex. He's using dirty tricks because he hates rules. A heckler yelled, rules like your secret slush fund? Murmurs swelled. Then the bomb, someone outed Alex. Wait, he's a retired judge? And you called cops on him for fake threats? Evie's face crumpled, shock. Then rage. Lies. He's persecuting me. But the room erupted, 2 board members bailed mid-meeting. Alex. In back. Rose quietly. Dropping printouts, emails from Evie to her hubby, Bury the new guy in fines till he cracks. Use cops if needed. Timestamp before his first notice. Premeditated. Evie snatched it. Face ashen. This is forged. Alex's voice cut like a gavel. Forgery? Like your audits? She fled the stage. The room in chaos. Outside. Jenkins waited, DA's charging false report, felony upgrade. FBI on the fraud. Alex nodded. Driving home as neighbors whispered. Evie's house hit the market days later. Her kingdom dissolving in lawsuits and probes. Months later. Sunnyvale breath freer, new board. Transparent books. No more nonsense fines. Evie? Probation. Community service, picking litter in an orange vest. Dodging eyes. Alex spotted her once. Across the street, she nodded curtly. A ghost of defeat. He'd sued civilly. Won restitution. But at sentencing, he spoke mercy, punish. Sure, but don't crush. She's lost enough. The judge agreed, no jail. Just reform. Alex's quiet life? Interrupted. But richer, teaching ethics seminars now. Turning pain to purpose. But here's the kicker, was Alex the hero for dismantling her? Or just another power player in disguise? You tell me, was mercy the real justice? Or should he have let the hammer fall harder?